Is Meghan Markle starting to devolve as she becomes increasingly desperate for the Hollywood attention she has craved her entire life? That's what was so interesting about the selfie she took with a couple of fans outside the Beverly Hills Hotel. In many ways, it was simply an odd thing for her to do. This woman claims publicly all the time that she wants privacy, and yet here she is invading her own privacy by letting the entire world know that yes, she was at the Beverly Hills Hotel. Not only was she at the Beverly Hills Hotel, she was probably having meetings, trying to hub up, trying to finally get her Hollywood career going. But it isn't happening. And I would want to bet that WME, the talent agency representing her, is not exactly thrilled with her selfie appearance, because what I think is happening with Meghan, and what we'll touch on in this video, as things continue to crumble around her and Harry, as their business ventures continue to dry up, I think she's starting to act out in order to exert control. But unfortunately, I think that's ending up doing more harm than good. So we'll discuss a little bit of that today. But if you guys haven't been to Royal News Network, my name is Brittany. I provide compelling royal commentary. So if you guys want to subscribe, that would be awesome. I'm hoping to get to 150,000 subscribers here before too long. So I would absolutely love to have you back. We have a lot of great discussions and commentaries about royals and what's going on behind the scenes. And so if you're interested in that, again, I would love to have you back. I also have a newsletter, a fashion channel. I also have a membership. So if you're interested in more behind the scenes things like what you see on the bookshelf behind me, and then eventually I'll do an office tour, but I need to get it cleaned up. But anyways, I'd love to have you there as well. We have a great community. We'll have a live stream this week. And I also have a partnership with Ana Lucia Diamonds. It's lab grown diamonds, and I have the earrings and the necklace and the ring, and I have been absolutely loving these pieces. They have been so fun to play with and wear. I just have been having an absolute blast. They look incredible. So if you guys are interested in any of that, there will be a link down in the description below as well. And before we get to Meghan and her devolving situation, let's talk first a little bit about, just very briefly, what has surprised me a bit over the last couple of days. Obviously, there are a lot of things going on in Israel right now, and we at least have one royal who's publicly dipping their toes in there, and that's King Abdullah of Jordan. Obviously, he does really rule the country, so it makes sense, but I was a little disappointed to see him not condemning outright everything that's happening against civilians. That was a little bit disappointing. Prayers go out to any of my followers who are in Israel as well. Obviously, so many things happening there right now, and it's a very serious, intense situation. So prayers to all those there. We also have Catherine and William, and Harry and Meghan are going head to head tomorrow for World Mental Health Day. And Catherine has recently released a video on her and William's social media talking about maternal mental health. So go ahead and take a listen to a little bit of this here.
I think some common stigmas surrounding maternal mental health are that the mum should know everything. You know, my mum did a great job, my grandmothers did a great job, Gareth's mum did a great job, so why couldn't I? You know, why was I struggling so much? So I was actually probably disappointed in myself. All
right, guys, I think that's fantastic. And so bravo to Catherine. We also have something interesting with the Dutch royals opening up their royal vaults, which includes some documents from family members. I'm super excited about that because I'm hoping at one point maybe I will be able to start going through different archives and researching more personally about the jewelry in some of the families. And so that is something interesting, and it also revealed as well that a member of the family had connections with the German Party of 1933, if you're familiar with that. So that has been a little bit of a controversy there, and they're obviously figuring out how to handle that situation. Princess Leonor of Spain, she'll actually turn 18 on the 31st, and she's still in military school, and they had this big ceremony earlier this week. And there's also, because she is turning 18, she's becoming the age of majority, she will be the future Queen of Spain. There will be a $40 euro issued in her honor. So it'll have her likeness on it and everything, and I just thought that was really cool. I mean, what strikes me so much about Meghan Markle is that she gave up royalty, where they literally make coins with your image. Now, if Harry and Meghan had stayed in, perhaps at some point, for some reason, they might have issued a coin containing their image. It would have been very unlikely, but entirely possible. But no. Meghan Markle, oh, she wanted Hollywood, baby. And I don't think things are going well for her. And Meghan Markle, she's somebody who craves control. That's the conclusion I've come to as I've watched videos and her over the years, that Meghan Markle, the thing she wants more than anything else is to control every bit of a situation. So she controls Harry. She moves him around as she needs. It's controlling. It's almost motherly, as if she's treating him like he's 5 years old and needs directions. And even though in the beginning some people thought at first, oh, well, they just love each other. And I'm like, no, that's less love, more controlling. She wants to control every aspect of her life. So we also saw this in the Harry and Meghan documentary, because obviously she was responding to a lot of criticism that she didn't Google Harry before they met. But she said, well, I looked through his Instagram. And it's like, well, Instagram is all about control. In a lot of ways, through Instagram, you're controlling what people see about your life. They're not seeing the real you. They're seeing the fabrication that you want people to see. I'm like, that is so Meghan Markle. We even saw this when it comes to her children constantly, especially the birth of Archie, because she wanted to release the information. She hated the palace machinery. She hates the press. So she wanted to get one over on them by essentially lying about when she gave birth to her child initially. She told the world she was in labor when in fact she had already given birth. And something like that, it just sticks in people's minds, and it reveals you to be somebody who lies in order to get ahead. There was no reason for her to lie about when she had given birth, because by the time she went into labor, it was very late at night. She gave birth very early in the morning, something like 5 in the morning. And so why in the world not just say she had already given birth? Because there just wasn't even enough time really between late at night and early in the morning for her to make a big fuss about going into labor and everything. And the thing is, people wanted to celebrate the birth of this child with her. But Meghan, no. It's all about controlling the narrative. She wants to constantly control the narrative. And if you think about it, what did she do after Archie was born? She got to control the situation and got to show him to the world at Windsor Castle, because part of Meghan as well is she wanted everything to be so controlled, and she knew she could not compete in the slightest with Catherine after Catherine gave birth. I don't think Meghan thought she looked quite as good. So she needed a better location than the front of a hospital. So what did she do? She managed to grasp Windsor Castle. And we see this also as well in how she controls the children. Yes, we don't see them, and yes, that is weird. But it's also a symptom of Meghan Markle's control issue. She only wants us to see her kids when it's convenient for her for us to see her kids. She doesn't want us to see her kids at any other time. And I think part of that, in multiple reasons, is she doesn't want people taking attention away from her. And part of it too is, I don't know if she can entirely, let's say, control her child if her child has a meltdown or something like that. I just don't think she's probably that engaged in parenting. And you can even say, because she is seemingly constantly at the Beverly Hills Hotel, that is she not at home that much? But Meghan Markle's life has been always, I think, about an abundance of control. She wants to control the narrative. She wants people to see of her as a philanthropist. So she brings out a story that's 30 years old to try to justify it. She wants people to see her as an actress. So she's having maybe her friend or former co-star post all these pictures of her behind the scenes, which on Instagram, which was completely bizarre, to try to raise her profile. And yet it backfired. Again, every time Meghan seems to want to control the situation, it seems to further spin out of her control. And that's because I think Meghan can't help herself. She's desperate for control, but at the same time, she's also desperate for attention. And that's why I think we got this selfie outside the Beverly Hills Hotel. Now, when you watch royals, generally they don't do selfies, especially on their time off. Yes, they're doing them more now in a crowd and everything like that, but you never see selfies of Catherine as she's going out shopping, waiting for a car somewhere. I'm sure that doesn't happen often, but she's not ever there going, oh yeah, take a selfie with me, take a selfie with me. Catherine just doesn't do that, and most royals don't do that. I can't really think of a royal coming across my feed in a picture where they're out on their own time and they decide to take a selfie with someone. It was just sort of weird and unnatural, but I think it's a symptom of what's happening with Meghan, and I'm sure WME is not happy at all with it. And I think the reason they're not happy is because they have a client that, number one, they can't control. Because you saw this here. This was a silly thing to do. There was just no reason for her to do it. She's going to be out in New York this week getting a bunch of attention. Why does she need to take a selfie with somebody last week and make sure they posted it online? Because I'm sure she knew the woman she was taking a picture with was an entertainment reporter. And if she had, let's say, some sense, she would have discussed it with them or something and known to a certain level that, yes, this person has a public profile. And so Meghan knew exactly what she was doing when she took a selfie, because I'm sure Catherine has taken selfies with her friends, but knowing that they'll remain private and that they won't post them anywhere. They won't allow the media to see anything. And I think there are royals, or I should say more aristocrats, that have social media accounts. I actually know which one is Harry's private social media account. And I know he was connected with a lot of the aristocratic circles, and I'm sure he's posted things on there because Meghan Markle supposedly looked at it, and other people know it and other people have looked through it, but they don't post anything because generally most of these aristocrats, especially those who have gone to school together, grown up together and everything, are very protective of each other. But Meghan Markle knew most likely that these people would post this picture. I mean, why wouldn't they? They're in California, they're having fun, they're at the Beverly Hills Hotel, and look, they happen to see a duchess. But here's the other reason I think WME isn't happy. It's because there's something so pedestrian about Meghan Markle taking a selfie with fans. It's so Hollywood. And the markability of Meghan Markle doesn't come from the fact that she's a former actress. It doesn't come from the fact that she lives in Montecito. It doesn't come from the fact that she was a briefcase girl once upon a time. It comes from the fact that she is royalty. Technically, she is married to a prince, and her husband's father is the King of England. That's what makes Meghan Markle entirely relevant to any conversation. It's the man she married and the title she holds because of the man she married. But when somebody is taking a selfie with Meghan and going, look, which one of us is the Duchess? It highlights that Meghan really isn't royalty anymore. She isn't really somebody all that special anymore because she has simply become another face in the Hollywood crowd. I just don't understand that Harry and Meghan didn't quite get this, because yes, their royal title sets them apart, but the longer they're in Hollywood, the less that matters, especially after they've had a very, very public falling out with the rest of the royals. We know they're not talking to Charles. We know they're not talking to William. We know they're not talking to Catherine or the Wales' kids or the Duke and Duchess of Edinburgh, Princess Anne, Prince Andrew. Maybe they're talking with Princesses Beatrice and Eugenie, but those are the only people within the family they're probably really talking to on a consistent basis. And I think that's more Eugenie than anybody else. I don't think the Tyndalls are really talking with them. Peter Phillips and his family, they're just not that engaged. And so as they stay in Hollywood, the longer they stay there, the more the shine of the monarchy wears off on them. And WME, they signed Meghan Markle thinking they could sign her to all these mega deals. But I think Meghan's problem is nothing is happening fast enough for her. Meghan Markle wants instant gratification. And how do we know this? Well, when I was reading through Tom Bower's book, which I thought was really, really excellent, one of the things I picked up on is that Meghan paid up the wazoo constantly for PR. Constantly, Meghan was calling, trying to get as much PR as possible. And I think, in fact, a lot of her money from Suits went into a massive PR strategy. Well, why? It's because Meghan wanted her PR to make her famous. She didn't want to work on her talent. She didn't want to write a script. She didn't want to direct. She didn't want to work on any of the skills that she had in Hollywood, grow in any other way. She wanted to pay the PR company to make that happen for her. And unfortunately, PR companies aren't magical fairies. They can't just make things happen. Yes, they can to an extent, but even those people they prop up, if there's nothing behind them, they'll just peter out and just crash and burn, because things need to happen to a certain extent naturally. You naturally, because of a role, because of something you've done, that should be what elevates you. You shouldn't be taking the easy way and trying to have your PR do it. One of the interesting things is I listen to a lot of people who discuss Hollywood, and some of these insiders say that when it comes to actors, Hollywood often promotes certain actors at a particular time. And these actors, they promote them up the wazoo. They talk about how great they are, constantly hoping that these people really are thinking that these people will really go to the distance. Jonathan Majors is the one I can think of most recently, who was, oh gosh, what was his name? I can't remember, but he's supposedly the new big bad in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which will probably crash and burn here before too long. But anyways, they were promoting this guy up the wazoo, and now he has all these legal troubles because of a domestic situation that he had with his girlfriend. And as it turns out, once that came out, all sorts of people came out and said, yeah, this guy is kind of awful. And so it's just, they try to build these people up, but it's a hollowness behind them. That's what Meghan is. She is hollow. And because she has had just her PR build her up, she's never done any of the groundwork to make that happen. Trying to make it happen now, it's just not working. She's no longer a royal. She no longer has the support of the royal family. And so the interest of Hollywood in her just, I think, continues to diminish over time. And because of that, she acts out and gets more and more desperate. I have no doubt WME maybe even called Meghan, were like, what were you thinking with that selfie? We're trying to build up your brand. We're trying to make you a star. And you do something like take a selfie with the fans where they pose, well, guess who's the Duchess? Because you're so banal now that any of the four of them could be duchesses. That is the message Meghan Markle sent by taking that selfie. And I've also seen Meghan Markle just in general, like when she was doing that weird march at the Invictus game, she saw the camera once, she's like, hi, because she can't help it. And because things aren't happening fast enough for her, I think she's trying to generate it herself in the worst ways possible. There was also another video that came out of her and Harry leaving Harry's birthday dinner, and she saw another camera, she's like, hi. You know, because she just wants it so badly that she can't stand it when she can't get it. And because things are taking too long, because she's had so many setbacks over the years, that things are just continuing to spiral out of control. And I think her desperation just continues to grow and grow. And that's why I think we saw her taking a selfie outside the Beverly Hills Hotel. It was something she didn't need to do. It was something she didn't have to do. But Meghan Markle is a desperate person. She is desperate to make her Hollywood dream come true. And unfortunately, as time goes on, those dreams, I think, for her continue to diminish as people keep slamming the door in her face and going, no, you didn't put in the time, work, and effort into making things happen. And even a talent agency can't make fetch happen. You have to have a good basis, a foundation of talent, of work, of ethic to make things happen. You couldn't even last on a single podcast. Your podcast lasted just 12 episodes. I'm sure she's heard that from WME. How did you lose the podcast? How is Netflix looking at you and Harry and breathing down your necks for content? What are you doing? And even now, she has nothing in the docket. There's nothing going on with her as far as we're aware. I mean, I'm sure there is. But Harry and Meghan are just wisps in the wind. They have nothing to them. And as time goes on, that becomes so abundantly apparent. And the hollowness of taking a selfie does not make up for the fact that you just don't have any talent in Hollywood. And so I would suggest to Harry and Meghan, work on actually producing and making something. Because you ain't gonna make fetch happen without actually making something happen. You need an actual business. You need an actual strategy. Harry and Meghan just can't seem to come up with that yet. It is really quite startling to see people with all the benefits in the whole world crash and burn so badly. So guys, let me know what you think of this video. Let me know what you think of Meghan Markle's desperation. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching. Look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye.